I made a note to remind myself to record, and I still didn't. So the only person we're missing from class right now is Tina Steen. If anyone knows if anyone has her contact information, I would appreciate it if you guys would reach out and just say, hey, we're in class. I'm sure she would appreciate it as well. All right, sorry for breaking that up. I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint. Okay. We were at element 3, where the school leader ensures that the school is perceived as safe and culturally responsive. And we all know we're at a time now, equity is the big deal. It's everything now is going back to, are we being equitable? Not fair, but equitable, because fair is everybody getting the same thing at the same time. That's not equitable. You don't need inclusion. Why would I give you inclusion? You don't need a 504. Why would I give you a 504? If we're being equitable, we're giving every person what they need to be successful. And that is a big deal right now. I know in education, a lot of the journals and things that I'm reading, it talks about, are we being equitable within our schools? So as a school leader, it will be your task to make sure that everything is being done in an equitable fashion, where we're being culturally responsible, where we're perceived as safe. We meet with our kids twice a year, beginning of the year, and then at middle year when they come back from Christmas. And we tell them when we start, our main goal is to make sure that you're mentally and physically safe. And mentally safe means you want that student to feel that if anything is going on, that you're there for them. So being safe. All right, let's keep going. All right, so values are instilled in the school and they create the climate. And y'all did the video about culture and climate. So I won't go into culture and climate because y'all are doing great with that. You know what it means and what that entails. So if we're going to instill that type of environment, it goes back to transparency, trust, being culturally responsive, and making sure everyone feels safe. And that even includes your staff. Your staff needs to feel safe on campus as well. So culture, the difference between the two. And we do like to try to make these things the same, but they're not. Culture is the way things are done, your norms, your traditions, whether you have an open or closed environment, how you collaborate. Your climate is the way the school feels, and it is a result of your culture. But how does the community feel when they come to your school? And that's not just your parents. It could be any person in your community. Do they feel welcome? Do they feel like they can be a part of your school? Do people feel safe when they enter? Are they valued? Is the school inviting? We have a saying, excuse me, at our school that we practice radical hospitality. Even to the meanest parent or the most neediest person, you practice radical hospitality. And it may not be true, but we say to each other when we get flustered with people, we say that they're not angry with us, they're angry with whatever the environment is or whatever the situation is. But to keep us from taking it personally. And that's how you can make sure your school feels inviting at all times. All right, as the school leader, you have the influence on the way every member of your system, and this includes your teachers, students, parents, and support staff, perceives the values of the school. You have that influence. If you walk around and you're not happy and everyone perceives you as being that person who's easily angered or who's not inviting or just not, approachable, that tends to be the way your staff starts to respond to others as well. So you are the pacemaker in that school. You set the tone. A perception which in turn impacts the performance of teachers and students. I say this all the time. Teachers don't quit schools. Teachers don't quit students. Teachers quit bosses. If you don't like working for the person you work for, eventually you decide that you want to leave. And so as a leader of a building, you have to be the person that people want to be around, that they can trust you and can come in and talk to you, being approachable. So as we break down element 1, being transparent, communicating effectively, these things will grow you as a professional. So I am not going to read all of this to you because it's basically a bit of a recap that you've already gone through. So I'll give you a minute to kind of look through those. And again, I remind you, if you have questions, please stop me. And keeping in mind, I do want to point out that last one, the last two, basically, professional networking. Being an administrator, you tend to feel like you're on an island because you're going to do things that some people don't like. And then your staff, shuns you sometimes, but they come back around. But you do need to have a professional network of people. I do recall, though, as a teacher, I always had people I could call up and depend on. As an administrator, you start feeling like, okay, I got to find that group of people. And you do need to do that. And the last bullet point that talks about evidence should demonstrate the school leader is recognized as a transparent leader as reflected by data. You do want to make sure that you have evidence to support everything that you do. And that does include, how am I as a leader? How am I performing? I know in a lot of school districts, there are surveys that are done at the end of the year for the administrators. Take that as feedback and see if there are things that you can improve upon. So element 2, the school leader has the trust of the staff and school community that all decisions are guided by what is best for each student. The school leader's integrity. I say this all the time, as humans, we should always want to have integrity. But as a school leader, you have all eyes on you. So you have to operate with integrity. Do you have the ability to make tough decisions that never fail to put students first? Because you're going to make decisions that people are going to come back and say, well, why'd you do that? Because this was in the best interest of students. Do you have that ability? And sometimes you make those tough decisions and they backfire, but you have to say, well, I did this because I felt like it was best for students. Decisions may not be popular among teachers, but it is in the best interest of students. So element 3, the school leader ensures that the school is perceived as safe and culturally responsive. So eliminating undesirable behaviors, physical bullying, cyberbullying, emotional bullying. These things have become such a big deal these days with the cyberbullying and kids just being mean. So you do want to make sure you're addressing those behaviors in your staff and in your students, because again, we want everyone to feel safe. And how do you cultivate desirable behavior? Tolerance, self-advocacy. I would always say to students when they come to me and tell me about things that are going on or kids being mean, I always ask them, how does that make you feel? Because they will tell you, I don't feel safe, or this student is really making me have anxiety about coming to school. And those are the things that we as administrators, we have to take seriously. Academic safety. When a child feels safe to take academic risks, such as advanced courses, participate in academic discussions. Our classrooms have to feel academically safe, where that kids don't mind raising their hands to ask questions, or they don't mind taking that risk and say, I'm gonna try to do something different. And as an administrator, and we're gonna get into the Mississippi Professional Growth Model today, and we're gonna do a guided activity. And we'll talk a little bit more about what you see when you go into classrooms. And that will be something as an administrator you're going to look for, that your students are feeling academically safe. All right, so in conclusion, the school leader communicates core values through every decision, action, and policy established at the school. What the leader values creates the climate of the school. So we're rolling on into domain 6, which is your resource management. Resource management has 3 elements as well. I'll give you guys a moment to read through those, and I'm sure you've all read it because you've been reading Marzano's book. So we're talking about now the management of the fiscal, technological, and physical resources of the school. And all these things do affect how the management of your building is, and knowing where these things are, how the resources are being utilized. And always knowing, I'm looking at element 3, that we have to be in compliance. We have district regulations, state regulations, as well as federal rules and regulations that we have to adhere to. And so when we look at our PCL Standard 9, this is our day-to-day operation of the school. You have to know about your budget. You have to know what technology you're using, if it's being used. We spend a lot of money on technology programs. They're anywhere from $5,000 to $20,000 that is spent on one technology program a year. If teachers aren't using it, we're not being fiscally sound. And I'm always that person who asks in our PLCs, so are you using it? You know, and we have that discussion every year at the end of the year. We're not using these things. We don't need to spend our money on these things. So that is part of your task as a leader. All right, so the school leader ensures the management of fiscal, technological, and physical resources of the school so that we support effective instruction and achievement of each student. So we must balance the operational management to support the role of the instructional leadership. Do your faculty and staff have adequate materials to teach effectively? Do you feel like you have adequate materials to teach effectively? That changes day to day, unit to unit. Student achievement can be linked to effective use of resources. Budgets are clearly aligned and prioritized to support instruction and achievement. Element 2, the school leader utilizes systematic processes to engage district and external entities in support of school improvement. Has the school leader assessed all the available resources provided by the district? For example, unpacking the standards or pacing guides. Does the school leader strategically seek and acquire external support, grants, businesses, community leaders, university support, etc.? I know a lot of schools do the, partnerships with outside community leaders and businesses so that you have added resources. Element 3, the school leader ensures compliance to district, state, and federal rules and regulations to support effective instruction and achievement of each student. So with that being said, is the leader in compliance with district, federal, state, and local requirements? Does the leader must have the knowledge of the regulations and plan accordingly? There are a lot of regulations. I went through that training this summer and I was like, oh my goodness, I don't even know if we do all these things. It's a good thing that we have district offices that, check behind us for that. The leader is ultimately responsible, even if other delegated personnel are responsible for compliance. Those IEPs, your MSIS data, school checking accounts and funding. You have bookkeepers, you have data specialists, you have SPED teachers, but ultimately all of that stuff falls back to the school leader if it becomes out of compliance. So you have to be you have to be knowledgeable of all the things that are going on within your school. Okay, let's see. End of it. So I'm gonna stop screen share. If you guys have any questions about those domains, please ask those questions now. No questions? Okay. All right, so moving along, we're going to get into the Mississippi Professional Growth Model, which is a guided activity that we will do. You're going to watch a video of a teacher, and I will let you're going to do this observation, and then we'll discuss it within our session this morning. But before we get into that, and I know with these Zoom calls, it feels like I'm doing so much talking. Before we get into that, we will review the Mississippi Professional Growth System that most of you are really aware of because all districts are responsible for doing those. So all principals are doing those. So we'll go through that before we watch the video, and then we'll do the videos. Roll slide. I don't know why it will not stop showing this slide. Give me just a moment, guys. All right, so this is our professional growth system that was adopted by MDE back in 2018-19. It started as administrators. We had to start using it in 1920. Most districts are using this, and as well as their district guide. So the purpose of this system is that as the administrator, the Mississippi Educator Administrator Professional Growth System is designed to improve student achievement by providing teachers and administrators with feedback to inform continuous improvement. All of this is located in your module. So if you need to go back through it and review any of it, you can find it under week 6 in the modules. So according to MDE, you should have a minimum, or you should do a minimum of 3 observations per year. 2 of them are unannounced informal and 1 formal announced observation. And with this, it should be feedback after each observation. I know as a teacher, I never, I got feedback every now and again, but a lot of times I got this report in my box and no one wanted to sit down and talk to me about that. I'm sure some of you all still are getting that. That is not the design of it anymore, but I know a lot of administrators are still pretty much doing exactly that. They're just putting it in your boxes. But if you want this system to be effective, the feedback portion of it is the most important part of it. Okay. I am going to skip some of these slides so that we can go through. So this is important. When you do an evaluation, it does raise the bar. If you're in a teacher's classroom often, you know for fact what's going on. When you get that irate parent telling you that Miss Johnson did this, this, and this, and you've been in Miss Johnson's room all year, you can actually say to the parent, I've been in that classroom. This is not happening. You are supporting the growth of the school when you're in those classrooms. So raising the bar talks about the language. And again, this is a 63 slide presentation, and I will not go through all of it with you. Okay, so this is the other slide I wanted you all to see. Classroom observations. You're going to be clear, specific, actionable, and you're going to provide timely feedback. Because if you don't give timely feedback, there will be no changes in practice. And the only way to give that timely feedback is to follow up and have a feedback meeting with teachers. These things are so important that you do them. All right, so our teacher growth rubric, the lesson design, student understanding, culture and learning environment, and then the professional responsibilities are the 4 areas. As we break those down into the different domains, I'll give you a moment to read this. Okay, and these domains go back to these 4, the growth rubric domains, not to get it confused with our Marzono domains. Okay, so unpacking the standards. This is the lesson part of it. I'm going to skip through because the one that we're going to focus on today is going to be our learning environment. Again, all of this is on in your modules. So if you want to go back and look at it, you can. Okay. So let's take a minute. We're going to look at this slide. And you do have to unmute for this. The more people that talk, the quicker we can go through it. And then y'all can get your Saturday started. I know there are a lot of football games going on today. So I know people want to get out and enjoy the day. It's a beautiful day outside. So let's look at this slide. Tell me, what do you see?
There's some students who are engaged and some who are not showing like they're paying attention.
Okay, Melissa, you're correct. They're just in the room. Just in the room. Okay, thank you. Anyone else wants to share?
I see chaos.
All right, Martha. Okay, some chaos is going on. It is not a neat classroom, and that just, I'm not good with when the room just looks messy and there's too many things going on.
That's what I was going to say. The room's kind of not organized very well. There's stuff everywhere. The wall on the left immediately caught my eye because there's just so much stuff on it.
Right. So that's what you're going to do when you walk into a classroom. You're going to walk in and you're going to immediately start looking around. I say to teachers all the time, I'm looking at you as you're teaching, but more or less I'm looking at students, because the goal of the day is students learning. So that is something you're going to do with me today. So I'm going to come out of this if I can. We're a Microsoft school and I use Microsoft Teams more than I use Zoom, and I'm still learning Zoom. So y'all give me a little grace with that. All right, so our next thing that we're going to do is we're going to get into our video. And I know I went through that rather quickly. If y'all have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. But our big things, let me recap, are the 4 domains. You have the lesson design, student understanding, culture and learning environment, and professional responsibilities, okay? As you're doing observation and feedback, your process is going to be to collect, sort, interpret, and provide feedback. You're collecting as an observer, you're looking for and recording relevant evidence in a lesson plan. So you have a lesson plan. Is that educator, is that teacher implementing the lesson plan? Is that being done? And do you see evidence of the lesson plan being done? You're going to sort. The observer organizes evidence by rubric standards, and your standards are what you're teaching, correct? You're going to interpret. The observer determines performance levels by aligning the evidence to the rubric's indicators. And we're going to look at all that. And then you're going to provide feedback. The observer uses evidence and discussion with the teacher on how to improve practice, because everything we do is supposed to be to improve practice. Y'all can nod. That's true. That's really true. MDE did a big study on that, and that was the goal. We are improving practice. And I always say, please don't take it personally. This is just what I saw, because what you see is the evidence, and you're being very objective. I know sometimes it feels subjective, because I would say I was a classroom management guru. I wanted my kids to know my procedures. I wanted them to always do what was expected, especially when we were out in the hallway and people could see them. Just like being a mama, you want them to act right in public. And I was always that way when we went on field trips. But as an administrator, I had to learn that organized chaos is some people's classroom management. And so I had to take my viewpoint and take it away, as long as the students were actively engaged in the learning. And that, as an administrator, you will start learning, okay, this is the way I operate, but this teacher is very effective, even though they do not operate that way. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is go through the form. I'm going to share this form. And again, it is on the module, in the module. Why am I not finding it? Let's see. All right, are you all seeing my selected scripting form? Okay. This form has been updated by MDE, and I will say that it is one of my favorites. We don't use this form for our informal observations in my building because we're a little different, or as the kids say, we're a little extra. In our building, we do informal observations every other week. So you get a schedule, our teachers get a schedule of our observations every Sunday by Sunday. I try to send it on Friday so I don't have anything to do on the weekends, but that never works. But I get that out to them, and we walk in for an informal every other week. And then we do a formal twice a year, which next week we're moving into formals. We like to get them done before Thanksgiving. So after you come back from Thanksgiving break, you don't have that to be concerned about. But this is a very good template. I will say this is one of those that you can fill in and type on, but when you get to this part, this is where the form gets a little crazy, because when you go to the second page, it only types what you typed in the first page. So you may want to print it out and write on it, or you may want to figure another way of doing it, downloading it into Microsoft Word. But I will tell you, the second page does not work well in PDF and filling it in. But when we're doing our video, because I'm going to show you a video in just a moment, the area that I want you to really focus in on is domain 3, culture and learning environment, okay? That the teacher manages a learning focused classroom community. The teacher manages classroom space, time, and resources. And the teacher creates and maintains a classroom of respect for all students. I want you to really focus in this area for the first video, okay? I'm checking my notes again. I like taking notes, because if not, I get off on a tangent. So with that being said, I'm going to show the first video, but I need y'all to do me a favor. Take out a sheet of paper. If you have one, if you don't, grab one really quickly. Once you take a sheet of paper out, and in my teacher voice, I want you to do a hot dog fold. So we're going to do a hot dog fold. And on your left side of your paper, you're going to write teacher. And on the right side of the paper, you're going to write student. And pretty similar to our form on here. So we want to make sure when we're taking our notes, we're doing teacher, student. Because you're observing what the teacher is doing as well as what the student is doing. And you want to be very specific. So that's why we're doing 2 sides of paper. So that we're doing that. All right, okay, so stop sharing here. It's a lot of sharing. Fix my screen. Okay, dokie. Are you all looking at a video now? Okay, I'm getting better at this. All right, so you're going to watch this teacher as she is doing a classroom lesson. And again, you're focused in on the culture and climate, okay? And I'm only gonna play a little bit of it.
Raise your hand, football players. Cameron. The team is amazing. You guys win every weekend because
our skills are good our skills are good.
Your skills are great. What else? Kinston. You keep on practicing. Phenomenal. Let's look at the next box. Look at the purple box. What is the next word that is down there? Yes, right here. Put your finger on it, please. I need the tracking finger going. Especially. What do we think that sounds like? What is that root word in there? Miss Wiggins talked to you about root words. What is that root word that would be in specially? Yes.
Special.
Special. What does it mean to be special, Kamani?
It's something that you very like.
Something that you like a lot and is important to you. Excellent. Next time, let's try it just a little bit more loud. What does it mean to be a little bit louder when we're speaking?
Conviction.
Thank you. We need to speak with conviction. I can barely hear you. No, Miss Wiggins is old. I'm hard of hearing. I can't hear you if I'm over here, okay? She said that to be special meant it was really important to you, and it was something that you liked a whole lot. So if something is specially made, Miss Wiggins specially made presents for each of her students. What do you think that means? Yes, Amari.
All righty. So tell me some things that you've noticed so far.
She moves around a lot and engages all of her students.
Mm-hmm. Yes, she does.
When a student gives a response, she restates their response, ensuring that all the students have heard the response. And then she also does a follow-up with that particular student statement to bring additional students in to extend it.
Yes, good job. I like that answer, Vicki. Yeah.
She also does a lot of deeper questioning, like asking them why, and then what's the root word of especially, getting them to explain something further to make sure that that's her checkpoint to know that they understand what their answer.
I
Tell that she had pretty good procedures in place, like with the tapping finger to read and the speaking with conviction.
Yes, procedures. I love it. I also loved how she got them started by asking him about football, engaging them in things of their interest level. I thought that was great. Anyone else?
Our classroom is very neat and organized. Students are in group, it's very inviting.
Yes, good.
It's also evident that there's procedures in place for them being able to focus on just the lesson at hand, because I always think, like in the classroom, I always tell students, like, let's set up our learning environments. In other words, if it doesn't apply to what we're about to learn, get rid of it, get it out of sight so that you don't lose track. And I'm looking at the materials that are in front of them, and there's a consistency from one desk to the next, what resource that they're utilizing for that phase of the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
You also notice that the students actually are paying attention to each other. Not only they engaged, but she's got it in an environment that each of the students know to follow along with her, but also to pay attention to whoever is actually answering. So the fact that they're engaged in that, and then repeat the procedure. Somebody else said procedure. She is has the procedures in place, but the students know them. And it seems like this is I'd say a second grade, first grade classroom, and then she's implementing them very well. And then she reinforces them on a regular basis. And you can tell that through her teaching today.
Mm-hmm. Active listening is so important for little skinny in any lesson.
Earlier,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Vicki.
Earlier, when you were doing the PowerPoint with culture and climate, and you were touching base on element 3 about eliminating undesired behaviors and so forth, I felt that when she was going back and giving them just actionable feedback right within the moment, not about whether or not the answer was right or wrong, but more so how the student voiced that answer, to be able to go back and remind them of something she'd already taught them. The reason why they were able to come back and say, speak with conviction. They wouldn't have known that if she wasn't already producing an environment. So I feel that if she's teaching them things like that, then she's creating an environment that's conducive to them being able to learn with and through each other and be confident about what they're doing. So if a student doesn't know or feel inadequate, once they step into that space, they know that they can own it. So that's the connection I made with that.
Good. She's doing a great job with them. I enjoy her video. Okay, so we're gonna watch just for a little bit more, and then we'll go to the second video.
I made something special for you, and because it's special, do you think that I gave the same present to everybody?
Yes. No.
Maybe?
No. Maybe, yeah, maybe.
Who thinks no? Kayla, why not? Why do you think no? Something specially made. Would I give the same thing to everybody? Because is it important? Kamani told us that if something is special to you, it's important to you. Is something that's important to Kamani important to everybody?
No.
Kamani might have, what's your favorite animal at home? Your favorite stuffed animal? Your dog? What's something that's really your favorite toy ever? Jakai? Your parrot? What's your favorite toy, Amari? Your stuffed baby toys. Now, do you think that if Miss Wiggins made something specially made for each of you, that it would be the same thing? Because what did we just hear? Were those all different things or were they all the same? They're all different. They're all different and they're all important to you for different reasons. So they're all specially made. Now, let's think about that. If I specially made a special food for you guys, I specially made brownies for Miss Wiggins' class. Specially made brownies for Miss Wiggins' class. What do you think about those brownies? Do you think they're going to be the same brownies Miss Fryer's class gets? Why not?
Because
Some brownies are different, and the brownies our class has, because they're specially made, means they're important to who? Miss Fryer's class or our class?
Our class.
Exactly. Let's look at the next word.
All right, any other observations?
If a student didn't know the answer, she would sort of guide them along, or she would ask the question in a different way, so that they could get the point made.
Mhm.
I also like that she, instead of like doing like a blanket to begin with, like she did the second part with the brownies, she actually individualized what students like, which allows the class to continue to build that like comfort and safety with each other, because they're learning about each other as well as learning what the lesson is.
Yes.
I'm looking at the body language of these kids. I notice that a lot. And you just look at these kids and they look comfortable. They look like they feel safe. They look like they're able to participate. They know that. This is just a 9-minute clip. It's all we got on this teacher, but just by looking at the body language of these kids, she's got an awesome environment in her classroom. I think they just feel like they can just participate very easily, and there are a lot of them excited to participate as well.
I agree, Philip. I agree. Okay, so we are going to switch to another video, and you're going to see some different things from another teacher. So if you draw a line under where you've written your observations, so we can do the second video. On your sheet that you have, just put a line through the middle, and then we're going to watch this second video. And then we'll do the exact same thing. You just kind of tell me what you noticed, and we'll watch a clip of it. Okay. See here.
Kindergartners, I need your help doing some thinking for a moment. Because I was thinking about the books. 2 of the stories we read, Dominic, off the top. Oh. I was thinking about spring. No. And then I was thinking about the story Down the Hill. And I was thinking, Davian, I was thinking about some of the things that are the same about the stories and some of the things that are different. CJ, in your spot sitting up. I was thinking about some of the things that are the same and some of the things that are different. I'm gonna need your help. We're gonna put those things up here on what we call a Venn diagram. Can you say that? Venn diagram. Oh, one more time, say it. Venn diagram. In order to do this, I'm going to need your help. So first I need you to squish your bodies a little closer. Not too close, remember, don't touch the person in front of you. Let's go. Look, there's room right here. Scoot up. CJ, you need to be out from under the table.
Okay, what are we noticing?
For me, I immediately got irritated because I used to teach kindergarten, and her board is not kid friendly, and it's really, really cluttered. I mean, it's too busy, and of course the classroom management. The kids are not. It seems like she doesn't have a control of her class. When it's time to go to the mat or to the rug, they should be more organized, but her board immediately caught my attention. It's like her kids are reacting to just how the board is all cluttered and disorganized. So it's just like it's matching to me. It drove me crazy just looking at it. I couldn't. So it's like it's matching. The kids are matching what's going on with the board.
Okay. Anyone else?
She did quite a bit of redirecting, which was an indicator to me that the expectations weren't clearly established, and the students didn't have the opportunity to reflect on those and get feedback from her on where they were. There were a number of patterns and so forth between like the movement and things like that, which could be established even before they go into that, even the proximity, the space, she's having to tell them, come in and different things like that. Another student, be still. And those are all things that she could literally go over with them prior to them going into the lesson. And even if they weren't doing it throughout, she continued to stop whenever she noticed that individual students or several of them weren't on pace. So if there was a pattern, then just stop what you're doing and then address those expectations with the whole group. But she just never did that, which had her to keep having to recite, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it took her so long to finally get to at least one point of something she was going to do. So I'm like, wow, we're losing so much class time here.
Okay.
I also, to give her some positive credit feedback, she did have the redirecting with her finger on her mouth. And when she did it the first time, the students got quiet, but they immediately then, like within a few seconds, started back up. But she was trying to put some procedures in place, but going off of what Vicki said, like she really needs to reinforce those a lot stronger.
Okay.
I think her reinforcement would be better if she would move around, like that student that was making noise at the beginning. If she would go and stand by that student just for a few seconds, then he or she would know that that behavior isn't acceptable. So sitting, although she's somewhat at their level, is not, I guess, good classroom management. She needs to move around.
When I was looking, who was that? Teresa. When I was looking at it, I was thinking about her, and tell me if you were thinking about this as well. In some sense, looks like she's trying to sit close to the board during carpet time, so that the data that she collects from them on their learning, she could perhaps transfer it to this Venn diagram, since she had been reciting, hey, we're going to use a quote unquote Venn diagram. So I was thinking that maybe if that particular student was an issue, then the proximity she could use there could be to put that student next to her up front. Maybe.
Also, she could have used that child. There was maybe one child that was being disruptive as a helper. Like, say, for instance, when she was introducing the Venn diagram, she could use that one child to, be a helper to bring in front of the class to, if she was going to put someone on the board or use a manipulative or something like that, to place those different, I guess those are characters or something down that she is below the Venn diagram, to use that child to put something under spring, if they going to answer the questions, to use that one child, it seemed like it was one child that was being disruptive, to bring them to the board to help to, stop disrupting the class, to use that child to bring stuff to the board.
make him a helper. That is a great strategy for her. It's kindergarten, and I know one of you guys said you taught kindergarten. That's the one grade in life I don't want to teach. It's like herding cats. You get them all in and they all jump back out. It's just, you put them in the basket, they jump back out the basket. It's just that grade. But she was doing, and to say some positive affirmations for her. She was trying to hush the class without, talking to everyone. It's just, again, goes back to procedures. And when you're dealing with the littles, you do have to teach procedures, and, you have to tell them exactly what the expectations for the day is going to be. And what does carpet time look like? She should have started with that. Carpet time today is going to be this, this, and this. And the student that's disruptive, she should have a plan in place. If he's disruptive, he either gets to go back to his desk and sit, or he sits very close to her. So yes, discipline during her carpet time slowed her down. So let's watch her get into her lesson.
Okay, eyes right here. Thank you, Kiesia. Eyes are up here. She's ready to learn. James is ready. Okay, now I'm going to need a scout. A scout is going to be someone who watches, someone who's being responsible, sitting up. Dominic, would you come on up and be our scout first? No, Dominic. Sit down, Stevia. Sit down, sir. I want to. Yes, Miss Whitmore. You need to show Dominic that you can be responsible. Sitting up straight and tall, eyes up here. Dominic, your job is to pay attention to Miss Whitmore and to watch the class to see who's being responsible. Responsibility is doing what you're supposed to be doing. So you're sitting up straight and tall, you're listening. When it's time to turn and talk to your friends, you turn and talk. Okay, here we go. Let's see here. I'm thinking, we know what happened in spring. Let's think back to what happened in the story Down the Hill. Let me help you. No, sit down. Sit down. It's falling down. Davion, sit down. Sit down. Thank you, sir. Look here. What happened at the beginning of the story Down the Hill? It was snowing. Hey, it was snowing. Was it snowing in spring? No. Okay, so let's see. Down the hill. In the story Down the Hill, it was snowing. I just felt snowing. But I'm thinking, in the story Spring, was it snowing? No, because the snow melted. The snow had melted. Oh, I'm gonna put that because that's different. The snow melted. That's not the same, is it? Because it was sunny over here, huh? And then it's cold right here. But in both stories, they are at whose house? Toad's house. Oh, that's the same. In both stories, they are at Toad's house. Then Toad said blah. Oh, did that happen in both stories, Davion? Yeah. Did Toad say blah here? Yes. Did Toad say blah here? Yes. Listen. Frog said, winter is beautiful, come out and have fun. Blah, said Toad. Yeah. John, my name is So Toad said, blah. Blah. Yes. Right? We'll put that in a bubble because Toad said. Office. Hi there, can I get a counselor to 108? You talking to counselor? Let me see. Let's look at what else is different. When Frog got to Toad's house.
Okay.
Okay, so previous video, she told a kid to get out from under the table, and I'm going to assume that that kid did not get out from under the table, and rather than continuing to redirect, the kid must have a behavior plan or something, because she nonchalantly, I never even knew she like hit a button or whatever to let the office, call the office to say that she needed a counselor. So she was, kind of, I guess, following a BIP if there was one in place for a student. So kudos on that.
I noticed that when she said, when the student said that, but it's cold over here, she never did like acknowledge his statement, you know, which could have further engaged, you know, the students in the lesson.
Okay.
She has a, she's continuing to use like different signals and things like that for students, like when she was doing, you know, eyes here. So she definitely has that in place. May not be fully to where all students are expected to respond and adhere to it, but that is something that it looks like she's endeavoring to employ with them. She even goes further to call out the names of students who are quote unquote ready to learn, which is good. To be able to give them feedback saying, hey, I see you and you're meeting this expectation, but also to draw others in. She could have gone a bit further with doing that to actually get the rest of them on page versus I see Sarah is ready to learn. I see Mike is ready to learn. And then her going on, okay, waiting for some others, and then just make sure she have all of them with her.
Mhm.
Something that I found very distracting, and I'm not an elementary person, so this just may be elementary kids, but they were way too wiggly. Like the kids were moving around like back and forth and all up and down and everything else the whole entire time.
Yes, that is a very elementary thing, especially kindergarten.
I just feel like when the little boy saw the picture had fell down, I feel like she should have handled it a little differently. And he was like, I want to help. And I feel like maybe that could have been a moment to where she could have let him, because it sounds like maybe he was one of the kids who was speaking out loud. And to me, she was kind of just steady moving on. She didn't respond to the children hardly when they were saying things or saying answers. She wasn't like, yeah, that's right, this is correct, and good job. Or, you know, I feel like she could have given a little bit more positive feedback to the children who were participating.
Okay, she seemed a bit flustered during this lesson, and it came across in the video. So with that being said, let's move into what's coming up next, because one of your assignments is going to be you watching and doing the scripting forms and submitting that along with 2 narrative paragraphs. So pretty much the same thing we just did in that. What did you see the students doing? What did you see the teacher doing? And that's how you will list that on your scripting document. So under the teacher calls on students to give real life examples and give football examples. That was our first video. The student raised their hand to respond. So those are kind of the examples of how you will write that out on the scripting form, being very specific, very objective. This is what I saw. This is what the student responded doing. So that's how when you are writing on your scripting documents, it should look. Let me see, can I pull that back up? So when you're filling this out, you're going to make sure that here, what time that you start, the time frame the teacher is doing, the student is learning. So being very specific when you're filling out those 2 spaces. It's gonna be key there.
May I ask a question, Dr. Cockrell?
Of course.
So the document that you just showed us that you said are already in our modules and so forth, will we be extracting like that second page that you said, I think you said whatever you put on the first one, it carries over to the next one?
Yes, download that document. And I would recommend you, if you can transfer it over to Microsoft Word and type in it, that would be the best thing. But if you can't, print it off and write on it.
Okay, good deal.
As your handwriting is legible, it'll be fine.
Okay, that sounds good.
Able to
Dr. Cockrell, I have something else. We started our 2-week fall break yesterday.
Oh, that's lovely. I'm sorry. I'm living in
Same,
the
same for me as well. Same for me as well.
Yeah, so we don't have classes going on for the next 2 weeks.
Okay, interesting.
It's the extended school year thing.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with it. Tell me who all has that again.
It's Lamar County School District.
Yeah.
Okay, Lamar County, so Latoya. Okay, so we'll look into, you'll just do it from a video,
Okay.
similar to what we just did here. Let me go
Will you
back.
send that to us or do you want us to find one?
No, I'll send it to you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trying to find it. Okay. So you'll have the forms for all of that should be listed. Okay, here we go. I'm in the wrong week. So you'll have the whole guidebook that for your, just for your information, you'll have it just so you can look through it. Scripting form A is one of the forms you'll fill out. Maybe it's going to pull up, maybe not. I was thinking about it. So the same one I showed you a minute ago. So you'll have that to fill out for your assignment. Okay. I'm trying here, get to the Dropbox. So here we go, right here. This is the assignment and the way that it's listed. So everyone is getting the videos. I'm sorry, you're not going to go into a classroom. I knew that. I read that and I'm still trying to give you something else. So you have a 3rd grade ELA, a 6th grade ELA, 4th grade math, and a 10th grade math video. So we're all doing it from a video. Sorry. I knew that information. For some reason, I had a blurb in my brain. And you're going to do the scripting form A first, okay? And then you're going to do your evidence sorting form. And that's in the guidebook. I did not pull that up. I'm sorry. So with that being said, you're picking from these videos the 2 that you want to use for your assignment. After you do that part of it, the mock observation on the rubric form, you're going to do the scripting form, but then the next task is to write 2 paragraphs. In paragraph 1, you're going to briefly just cover what occurred during the observation. And then in paragraph 2, that's your reflection. Okay. How you felt during the evaluation. Was the instrument easy to follow? What difficulties you may have encountered or found difficult to understand.
Dr. Cockrell, may I ask a question?
Of course.
So when you talk about us talking about how we felt during it, would that be 3rd person or?
You can do 1st person for a reflection.
Okay, gotcha.
You can do it for the 2nd paragraph, but your 1st paragraph should be in 3rd person.
Right. Okay.
Thank you. Very important question. I get a lot of emails about that. All right. So any questions about this assignment? Any other questions? Let me check the chat. I know some of y'all sent chats. Okay. So that is coming up in our, yes, this is going to be due shortly. Please pay attention to your rubrics that are listed. If you don't see them at the bottom of your screen, if you can't see my screen, when I'm looking at your assignments and I'm grading your assignments, I have the rubric sitting on my desk and then I'm reading through and I'm checking the rubric. Many of you, I send comments and different things in the assignment. If you're responding back to my comment, I generally don't get a message for those. So send it to me via email or the inbox. If you're responding to my comment on your assignment, does that make sense? I don't see it. So pay attention to your rubric. If you printed off the syllabus, all of the rubrics are listed in that syllabus as well. So making sure that when you're answering the questions that you go back and say, okay, if I get 4 points, this is exactly what I'm doing. This is exactly what I'm putting into my write-up. Okay. I'm trying to think. I had another. So this assignment is due October 22nd. Yeah, a little while on that. Or I have the wrong date listed. Please remember, if you have not gotten your mentor agreement forms turned in, those are due. So please get those filled out by whomever you're working with. You need to get those in the Dropbox. I did get a text from Dr. Sellers last night telling me to remind you all that you need to drop that in your Canvas, because she's looking for those and you cannot get full credit unless you have those turned in. That was the other thing. Let's see here. Oh, we are rounding the corner and we're getting into the final weeks of the course. Do y'all have any questions about upcoming things that are coming up? I will have your video for week six uploaded. I had a glitch with my YouTube channel and I've finally gotten that worked out. So I will upload that video. It kept going to private and it would not go to a public viewing. So that video, the glitches worked out. The people at YouTube are very kind. They work things out quickly. Let's see, tomorrow's the Sunday. So the only thing that's due tomorrow is your domain 3 and 4 write-ups. Those should be turned in by 11:59, 59 seconds. Let's see here, week 6, we've already gone through all of that. You have part 2 of your SMART goals assignment that's going to be due in that week. Keeping in mind that when you turn in part 2 of your SMART goals, let me click on that, your group project, we've already done part 1. Where you put in those areas that need improvement. So the next part, you're going to put in 2 strategies for implementing each of your SMART goals. Making sure that we think about what does SMART actually mean. You know, we're being specific, it's measurable, actionable. We need to make sure our goals, our strategies are a little bit different in terms of my brain took a break, give me a moment, that your goals are different. We know a strategy is what we're doing. When we start talking about the strategy that we're using, is something that can be done. And then on that template, you have to tell who's doing this. If it's the 3rd grade teachers or if it is you as the administrator. So being very specific in that. I'm trying to go back to that template. Give me just a second. So you know exactly what I'm talking about as I'm talking about it. Your strategies right here, making sure when you list, and you only have to do 2, the minimum is 2. If your group comes to a conclusion that y'all have 4 or 5, put them on there, I'm fine with that. But if you have less than 2, you won't get 4 points, okay? So you have to have 2 strategies in place. You have to list who's responsible. What's the timeline? If we're looking at data that's just say our iReady data, when do we give the next iReady test? That's our timeline, because we have to have the evidence to be able to state, I can say that this happened, this strategy was implemented, and the success rate based off of what data. So making sure that you fill in the timeline for this, whether it's 2 weeks and we're going to discuss it again in PLCs, or it is in a 4-week time because we take our next benchmark in 4 weeks. Making sure we're specific with our timeline. What resources are we using to implement our strategy, whether it is our math program that we're using, or whether it is our intervention program we're using. What resources? What is the evidence of the progress? Evidence and strategies are totally different. Evidence is how can I prove that this happened? This is how I know that my goal was met. So let's be very specific in these areas as we're filling them in. That's why I had to pull up the template. My brain would not work without it. So making sure that we're doing that for our goals that we've implemented in our part 1 of our plan. Any questions about that?
I have a question or 2. So when we submit this, this is another piece that each person in the group is submitting, and it'll look identical. No, yes.
Yes, this part will look identical because you're coming to a consensus within your group about the strategies that you're going to implement based off of your part one. So yes, it's still part of your group discussion, group assignment. Now, the part of it that will look a little bit different will be your narratives. Let me see here. Let me go back. Because I get ahead of myself. All of it's in my brain. I want to make sure I'm not giving you part three before we get there. So here is your narrative portion of the assignment. So what areas identified as needing improvement do you need to determine root causes? So you're going to write a paragraph describing how you will identify the root causes. Go back to Marzano's, our text for Marzano's. It talks about root causes. And, you know, and I'm going to say this because they said it to me when I was writing my dissertation. We can blame COVID on everything, but y'all, COVID is not the root cause. Kids have been back in school now for a year, some schools for 2 years. What is the root cause? Is it absenteeism? Is it that we have block scheduling and this kid misses algebra block every day? Well, of course, he's not going to be successful in math because we've missed this block of time every day. Does that make sense? This standard is low because we didn't, we tested before we got to all the parts of the standard. So let's look for real root causes, and COVID can be, it is a root cause for some things, but it is not the ultimate root cause. Because some students that were absent before COVID, they're still absent after COVID, you know? Some kids who didn't do class assignments before COVID, they're still not doing class assignments. They're still not focused in on the instruction. So we need to find actual root causes and not just label everything COVID. Does that make sense?
I have a question, Dr. Cochran. So in our group, what if we're using data from, like, there are two of them from one district, of us from one district, I'm from another district. What if we're using data from their district, but when I get ready to write my narrative, do I just go by what they tell me the root cause of it is, and to come up with my narrative? How do I write my narrative?
Yes, ma'am.
Just go by what they tell me? Okay.
Yeah, so in your discussion with your group, yes, you guys are going to talk about what you see the data is saying and what the root causes are. But no narrative is going to be the same because you're going to do that, you know, on your own.
Okay.
Okay. Brianna, I see your question in the chat about choosing 1 or 2 videos. You're going to do 2 different videos. And in the directions, it says 1 video.
Yes, ma'am.
It's an update.
It said 1 of 2 videos.
That must have been an update. I'm sorry. Between Dr. Sellers and myself, I think we're crossing over each other with the updates to the modules. So let me go back. Okay, 1 of 2 videos provided, conduct the mock evaluations. Okay, yes. Follow this. Follow this. If it, yes. Because again, when I go back and grade, this is exactly what I look at. And she puts it in big red bold. This is a Dr. Sellers when it's big like that. Choose 1 of the following teacher videos to use for your mock evaluation. So yes, Brianna, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, any other questions about that?
Where we put, it's the piece that had like the sequence there with, I can't remember what was on the form, but at the end had like the evidence, the strategies, that little piece that you had pulled up.
Okay, wait, let me go back.
Like with the evidence, the strategies and things like that. I just had one other question.
Well, let me go back to that. I want to answer it in real time, and that's the good thing about screen sharing. We could do that. Okay, so let me go back up this. Okay, right here.
Okay, so where we have timeline on our document, is it essential that we just put just one time stamp there, or if there are future timestamps as well, I include those. For example, we have data that we've identified, like our baseline for where they are and what their needs are, but we'll have like summative assessments as well as district benchmarks that we'll utilize. Should I just put whatever will be the first assessment that we'll go back and look at the data with within the timeline of this assignment, or should we include the subsequent benchmark? Because
I am not going to restrain you in that area if there are multiple timelines that you're tracking data, because we all know we don't track data one time and it stops.
Right.
It's an ongoing process. So if you put all of the different timelines in there, I think the more the better. But if it's one timeline, list that, but I'm not going to lock you into either or. Okay. Does that make sense?
yes, it makes sense.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. I know there are more questions.
Hey, yes, ma'am. Just for the this week's assignment,
Mhm.
only the narrative portion is due, not the PowerPoint, correct?
Correct. That is correct. Your PowerPoint is not due in this group assignment.
The strategy, the column where the strategies is on the piece that we were just looking at, and reflecting on the previous piece that we submitted, like as a group, where it had like a column or a row for like, I think it was suggested next steps, if I'm
Mhm.
saying it correctly. What's the connection between those and strategies? Because I remember specific
Those-
strategies that were
those
there that would
were-
actually have to be carried out, but I don't know if you're thinking there's distinguishing
Everything that
factors.
was listed underneath that template before were examples. Nothing that you have to use. Those were just, and that document was created by someone else. And I had to go back and ask, like, why is all this here? Because it confused me as well. And those were just strategies that they listed out as examples. You don't have to use anything on there except for that template. That was all that was needed for that. And keep in mind, this is a building document until you get to the very end.
Okay, because that's what I did when I looked at it. I looked at it thinking, oh, they're just providing some examples of strategies there. So for this particular piece, we'll provide our own strategies that we'll use. So I'm seeing now
That's
those specific strategies will transfer over to this document now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Also, do you want us to write our narrative below each SMART goal?
Good question. I haven't thought that through. But here's the thing. Those types of things I'm not a stickler about. If you write your narrative under that one and then the other one, I'm going to read each one and grade it accordingly. So you'll be fine either or. Any other questions? As I'm going to look back through and make sure.
One other thing, sorry. Okay, so like my group came up with 4 SMART goals. Are we required to do all 4 of those, since that's what we put on our first document that we turned in? Perfect.
Yes, you blocked yourself in. Okay, any other questions? I am working through grading all of the assignments. I have gotten off on my this past week. So I will try my best to get all of that graded and updated. I can't go into next week behind. So that's my goal for this weekend, is to spend tomorrow just grading and getting all the things that have been submitted, graded and updated for you guys. Next week is homecoming week for my zone, where I actually live as a parent, and my daughter is on the court. So I will be hit and miss a lot next week. If I do not respond to your email immediately, please don't hesitate to email me again, because some things I'll read on my phone and I'm like, well, I'll answer it when I get to my computer. And then I miss the moment and forget. So you do not hurt my feelings if you remind me. If you send another email, it does not hurt my feelings. I tell teachers that at the school all the time when they ask me something in the hallway. I always say, send it to me in an email. I'm that person who has a very limited short-term memory. I know this about myself. So it does not hurt my feelings. Questions do not bother me because I'd rather you be fully aware of what the expectation is. So anytime you're questioning something, please send it to me. There is no such thing as a dumb question. We're navigating this system together. As I explained to y'all on our very first virtual, this is my first time teaching this course. And as much as I study through it and try to make sure I know all the things, I am going to miss some things. And I'm not going to know everything because it is my first tour of this class. So you do not hurt my feelings. Ask the questions, send the emails. I will get to you. Just don't comment in the comment section on your assignments though, because I don't see those unless you let me know you left me a comment. Any questions? Thank you, Vicki. Okay. I had us down to 9:30, but we got through this really quick. I do see that we have 23 participants. Did anyone join after I went through the roll? I know Tina Steen was one that we were waiting on. Did Tina join the class?
I sent her about 2 or 3 messages, but I never heard back from her.
Okay.
I also sent her some messages too. I'm going to be that person. I've got one last question, Dr. Conger.
You are not. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh my gosh, it's just left me. Okay, never mind. It must not have been that important.
Well, if it comes back later, just shoot me an email. I
will.
You, I'm that person. I'll be talking. I'll be like, oh my gosh. Oh, it just went away. I don't know where it went. So I have those moments.
Tina and I worked together and we had spoke yesterday evening and she had planned to be here this morning. So I've been calling her trying to get in. So something must be going on because she had full intentions and was aware of class today. So I'm going to keep trying to get in touch with her to check on her.
Okay, and I'm recording this session and I will go back and upload it today. So if she wants to go back and view it, she can go back and view it. And you know, life happens. I tell y'all that all the time. We wish for things to be neat and tidy, but life isn't that way. So that's fine. She can go back and view it.
I remembered.
Awesome.
Are you going to make the smart groups again for us for this week? Because my team had a really big problem with that last time. Like some of them weren't in the class and like some of them couldn't find it on their Canvas.
I don't know why that is the way it is, because what you all are seeing on my screen, with an exception of all the green checks and all that, is exactly what is on your screen.
Yeah, on the home page on mine, on my phone, when I'd pull it up, it was on the home page, like your dashboard. But then when I got on the computer, on the dashboard, you had to go over to groups and it would pull down smart groups and I could see like our group. So that would have been the easiest way for us to communicate, but we had to just like email each other back and forth about everything.
Oh, okay. So ask me the question again so that I can fully understand.
Okay, so there was a SMART goals group made last week for each group. And I had one member, it was Talundra. She was not in the SMART goal group at all. Like she couldn't access anything that was posted in there. And then like a couple of the other people in my group said they couldn't find it on the dashboard where they could enter the group, even though they were in the group.
And when you say in the group, I guess that's where I'm confused.
It's like a breakout group, you know, on Canvas. And it gave, like, it was made. I don't know if you did it or if Dr. Sellers did it.
I added the groups and Dr. Sellers may have gone behind me and did something different.
Yeah, because
we both worked through this Canvas shell together because she's my direct supervisor. And so she may have created something. So, and I see Rumman said they made a group to communicate easily, but yours through Canvas is what you're saying.
well, two of the members in my group don't have the group name. And so we were trying to, or I was trying to like communicate with them using that smart group, but it seemed like none of them could, like the breakout group, but none of them could access it.
And I still do not have it. Like under home, I see none of that.
Okay, I will check with Dr. Sellers and see if she did something behind the scenes that I'm unaware of for the groups.
Okay, because it would help greatly. I think Talundra would agree with me because she and I were like back and forth in emails for days.
Okay, and it's a group, like you can do like a Zooms call or something?
No, ma'am. It's just a breakout group where we can put our stuff in there, and then like we can work on it together. We can use a Google Doc, or we could use the Microsoft whatever that they have available. We did a Google Doc last week, but as far as communicating, I think that was the biggest problem. If we had a place where we could just go into an inbox and all write to each other, easily accessible on Canvas, I think that would make it easier for everybody.
Okay, I will get more information on that. And then what I'll do, Melissa, is I will email you the response. But give me at least until a couple, give me at least a day, because I know Dr. Sellers will look into it. She's really good about that.
That's not a problem. I like to work quickly because for various reasons, but my brother's getting married next week. So my weekend next week is completely shot. So the sooner we can start working together, the better for me.
I do understand that I do get, because you want to be all there for family, always most important. So the group I was in was able to use the Canvas group. Okay, that was from Vicky. We use Google Docs so we could access the document in real time. Jacqueline, and then would you like me? Yes, Vicky, you can share yours. Let me see, can I offer you screen share? Is that what you're asking, Vicky? You will share your screen?
Yes, ma'am. I think I can remember how to get that way. At least you can see what it looks like on our side, Dr. Cockrell, and once anybody else. So let me see.
Okay, I think you should be able to share. I gave access.
Okay, you all can see my screen?
No.
No? Okay, it says it's disabled for me to be able to do it. Do you have it set up? Did you give me permission to share my screen?
Yes. Oh, wait, let me go back. Okay, see. Okay, see, will it work now?
Okay. Yes.
There we go.
Okay, so I'm on, and if no mistake, I just went over to the left and I clicked groups over to the left. And then I just went to SMART goals. And from there, let's see.
Was it people?
Files.
Okay.
Well, yeah, like under people, of course, I can see the people that are in the group. And of course, we can message each other and all of that jazz. And then just over here, I was able to use the files tab to be able to set up a folder, and then we could share files and stuff and look at them and communicate with each other about it. So that's basically what we utilized it for.
You can click that collaborations button and you can actually do like in a Google Doc. So you can pull a Google Doc into it.
That's good.
And you can work together on that Google Doc.
That's good. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I hadn't even, clicked that far. But I know somebody mentioned earlier they were trying to see it in real time. So it's good to know that.
Oh, yeah.
Just right there, we have access to a real-time document there too.
See, I had no clue about that.
I don't even have a group option on that side at all.
You don't?
Oh, wow.
that's what I kept emailing you about. She was never placed in that breakout group.
I don't even.
And I think that's where we were getting our wires crossed.
Yeah, we don't have. I don't have a
It
group
was
option
because
either.
Alondra came later. You joined after I set the groups, and I'm guessing once I set the groups, Dr. Sellers went in and activated the groups, and that's why you never had it. And I didn't understand fully what you were asking, so that was on my part. So I will go back and add that feature because you do have a couple of more group parts in there. Okay, I'm all caught up now. Thank you, Vicki, for sharing and showing us something new.
Dr. Kako, I don't have that group option either on my Canvas.
You don't, Nadia? I'll add
No,
yours as
ma'am.
well. Okay, let me find another sticky note.
And I guess my team members, Jacqueline and Teresa Hart, do y'all have that option? Check and see if y'all have it too. That's
what I was checking. No, I don't have it either.
Okay, so Nadia, Teresa.
I don't have it either. Jennifer Hoffman.
Runman.
Jacqueline Moore.
I don't have it either. Martha Bennett.
We might, guys, try going into people first. I noticed that I didn't have group, but I went into people, and then under people, it shows groups, and then you go into smart group.
The people that are in my smart group, when I access it that way, are not the same as the people in my actual group.
I know that in Dr. Sellers' video, she said that these people in our smart groups are also going to be the same people we work with in future courses too. So
okay, so I am seeing it now. I'm looking at it from another end of it, the background of what y'all are seeing. Vicki, Jennifer, Penelope, and Jacqueline. Are you all are not seeing it?
I could see it now that I went through people.
Okay, because yours is set, and then Melissa, Regina, and Dania is set.
But that's not even the people I was with originally.
Yeah, not mine either. It gives me an option to join. It was blind at first. When I joined, I realized those are not my members. So I quickly left.
Okay, so I can see how to set those up. So I will go in and reset all the groups. Only thing that I see is just 2 groups. And that would mean everyone else doesn't have a group. And I'm in the specialist module. I'm not looking at the master's group. So I'll go in and look at y'all's next. But those of you all that are in the specialist group, are any others seeing a group, or are those the other people?
Now, once I went under people and clicked on groups, I see 2 groups with Jennifer, and then I see my group, but it only says 3 students and it's locked. I still can't join it.
Okay, I'm gonna play in there. I'll play in that little box for just a little while. But those of you, and let me get this down because I don't want to disrupt a group that's already working. Which group said they were working already? Melissa, was that your group?
I know that it's one group.
Yeah, no, we haven't started anything yet for this week because I was going to talk to you today to hopefully get it fixed.
Okay, so Vicki, your group is set. That would be the Vicki, Penelope, Jacqueline, and Jennifer. That group is set.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on.
That's not our group.
No.
Yeah, I was never with that group. That's what I'm saying. The group I see listed, that wasn't the people that I was with for the SMART goal.
Oh, it's
okay.
Nadia, Jacqueline, and Teresa Hart are in one group.
Nadia,
Jacqueline Moore, and Teresa Hart are in one group.
But your group is using the groups or no?
No, because we didn't know if they had that feature till now.
Okay, so Vicki, who's in your group?
I'm Penelope. I'm in her group. It's Penelope and Vicki, and then there's
Jennifer Scanlon.
Okay,
So
and
there's
y'all
me,
are
Penelope,
actively...
and Jennifer Scanlon.
Yes.
Okay, everyone in my group is set. Okay. Okay, so I don't want to change a group if it's already set and working. That's what I was looking at. I don't want to affect something that's working. So I will go in and set the rest of them because it seems like that's what that it should be done that way. And that way all of you will have access to it.
Dr. Cockrell, at the top of mine, like when you go to people and click on groups, I can see the 2 groups, which is not my groups. But at the top right corner, it has a plus group in a red box. So I'm assuming that you could just click on that and then create your own group.
Yes.
So is that something we can do and that'll maybe take it off of you? Or just wait?
No, don't worry about it. I'm gonna go ahead and set it. It shouldn't take me long to drag and drop them in there.
Okay.
That was the plus of COVID. I had to do like 5 Canvas trainings. So I kind of know how to work in because of all of that. But in any time that we have stuff like this, I'm appreciative when y'all teach me. So Vicki, good job there. Thank you. Okay. All right. So now that we have that all figured out, thanks, Melissa, for letting us know that we needed to fix that. Anything else?
Oh,
Okay.
we do have access to our group, not does.
What?
We do have access to our group, not does. That bothers me.
PLA much? Okay.
Oh, subject verb agreement.
Okay. She's correcting her chat.
I was trying to type it so quickly before we logged out.
Okay. Well, I don't have anything else. Like I said, I'm gonna get all of your grades updated. Give me to 11:59 and 59 seconds on Sunday to get that done because Jackson State is playing Valley and I'm from Greenwood with Valley is in Itabena, which is my neighbor, town. And my husband cheers for Jackson State. So it's gonna be interesting at the game today. So I have to do that today, but I do plan on planting myself in a seat after church tomorrow and getting all of your grades updated. May we stay on longer so we don't feel cheated? Of course, we can stay to 10 just for you, Mr. Holmes.
Ramon, go to the beach. Don't you live on the coast? Go to the beach.
Oh my, I think they're gonna get you behind that one. They're like, no. So anyway, all hearts and minds are settled. I'm going to let you all have a great rest of your Saturday. Get out and enjoy the sun. And we will meet again October 22nd. And you all have a reactions button at the bottom. Are we all good with the 7:30 time? Please do the reaction button.
You said,
Philip,
you said October what?
It's October 22nd.
Okay, I thought I heard 27, so I.
Oh no, 22nd.
Okay.
All right, so we will meet at 7:30 on that day as well.
Homecoming, y'all be on time. Y'all be on time. That's homecoming for Valley. Y'all be on time.
Homecoming.
I will be zooming from my room on campus at Valley State. So y'all be on time.
All right, Nadia, you're gonna be over there with the Devils.
I will. Yes, ma'am.
All right, so 7:30 we'll start, and it looks like we're a 9 o'clock group, so it won't be long. She'll get to tailgating everything. All right, guys, have a great Saturday. Talk to you all in October.
Good weekend.
Bye.